Greetings, everybody. We're almost to the end, aren't we? Welcome to day 28 of the 30 Days of Halloween. I'm trying to space these videos so that if there's anything I think you want to try to duplicate in your own homes, that you have time still to do it. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to leave it at 30 days and not go clear to Samhain. Of course, I want to have time to celebrate Samhain on my own. But tonight's the last night that we're actually going to be doing too much of any kind of activities, as far as craft kind of activities. So, and we don't really have anything that you haven't seen before. Some of you have been with me for years and years and years. You'll see me do something tonight that I've done, I think for the last 6 years I've been doing it. Excuse me here. Bayan, come on, lay down. Good boy. You have to forgive me. My dogs are kind of nervous. The wind is it's blowing very hard here. We had some incidences in the yard this morning. We had an entire really heavy big glass top table with a big umbrella on the top completely blow over and shatter glass everywhere from the high winds. On top of that, we have a fire going, pretty big fire, not too long, really close out to where my daughter is living. So we're on fire watch, listening to make sure she's not going to be evacuated. So my dogs are very tense because they're picking up, I think, our energies. Bayan, lay down. Excuse me. Bayan, lay down. Let's go. Good boy. Anyway, I'm not sure what I was saying. Let me see. Today I'm doing the last bits. I'm doing the last little bits on the altar in my foyer. We have numerous altars in our home, and I have an ancestor altar already set up in my bedroom that I'm not going to share with you this year. I'm going to share, though, a small altar we have in our foyer, which normally is home for one of our Buddhas. We have a Buddha welcoming from the front of our house and from the back of our house. That's just part of our practice. Welcoming the east, welcoming the west. But Buddha is on he's going on a little weekend. He's coming off the altar. He's come off the altar, and we're decorating up. We're putting some welcoming things to welcome some of the spirits that we hope to welcome into our home this year for Samhain. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting some trying to get some last minute things on this video. It's probably going to take me a couple of days, and then I will get that up to you. I want to show it to you by the 28th is my goal. 28th, which is a couple of days from now. So in case you want to do the activity I'm going to be doing today, it's such a fun activity, and you might want to try it. I'm going to show you first, before I do that, I just want to catch you up on a few things that I didn't mention, that I mentioned or kind of mentioned. Remember the bag of skulls from Skullapalooza? I had some large size, there was some large, medium, small. I took the one I thought was so cute, because I'm going to do a whole lot of skulls and skeletons. That's what this this little altar is going to be. And I just wanted to, I thought I put a candle on the top of I thought it looks really cute. But this is very lightweight plastic. I just took a glue gun and glued that little candle up on top. But the skull itself is very lightweight plastic, and it's hollow. And it was, when I put the candle on it, it was just doing this. It wanted to fall over. So I just took my glue gun, and I took an old canning lid that I've already used. I saved my old canning lids because the old canning lids I use on jars that I want to store dehydrated things inside to keep them to vacuum seal. And these lids can be reused. I will show you that later. Once we get out of Halloween, we'll get into some other kind of things that some of you have asked about. And I'll show you some of those tricks that I have for my kitchen witchery. But anyway, I thought he was cute and he should sit. And now that I put him on the canning lid, he's glued onto the canning lid, he sits really nice and steady, and I don't have to worry about him falling over and burning my front hall here. So I want to show you him. I also wanted to show you, I did the rainbow candle, and made my tower of skulls on the rainbow. And I added, because I used a skewer, just a skewer. I found some really thin skewers that for using on the barbecue. And I put the pointed end up inside this little candle on the top. And then I used a glue gun. I turned the skulls facing different directions. And I included a black skull at the top, the rainbows, and then a couple white ones at the bottom, just so that I had enough of the skewer remaining that would fit down in one of my little cauldrons of sand, and it sticks in there, and it's going to stand really well. It's going to stand really well. So I thought that looks cute, and you'll be seeing that. We'll have that, I'm not leaving it like that right now, but. Okay, so that's just another little thing that I was doing. And I wanted to share, I've already showed you my candles that I'm transferring images on, but I did want to show you one more thing. It's a little suggestion, and not necessarily for salon, but for any time, if you plan on ever doing altar spaces or anything like that. I don't collect, but I keep my eye out for candle holders that have a nice base here. And these happen to come, and I like them because these happen to come in different heights. See, they're different heights. I have this height, and then I have a short height. This is short. So I have 3 different heights. And what I really like about these, I like them at 3. I just like things at 3, but I don't always use 3. But I like the varying heights. Anytime I build an altar space of any kind, I've shown that to you in the past. I always have, I like to have altars so that if I'm going to be doing any kind of a ritual, I usually stand at my altar, for ritual. So I like it, I don't want to have to be looking down on my altar all the time. I like to raise some of the things up. And also I think it's nicer, a bit more interesting if you have things of varying heights on any kind of a table like that, any kind of a space. So I use these a lot. If you would look at any pictures I've ever shared of altars in the past, you will see that I do that. I will put candles up on altars. I'll put candles on these, but I will also put other things on these. I have other kinds of things that I use on altars from time to time that sit really nicely on this kind of a thing. These are made of very strong resin. These are really nice. Like one thing that we use a lot on our altar in the parlor is I have an hourglass sand, filled with sand. And we like to keep that on the altar as often as we can, especially if we're going to be doing ritual with the altar. Part of our ritual, our personal ritual for Sabbath is to turn the glass to remind us the time is passing. That's just part of our practice. So I will do that. I have some other things, statuary sometimes, that I will put on top of something like this because it might be short. And on the altar, it sort of is dwarfed if you put a short statue. But if you put it up on something tall, it gets prominence on the altar. Excuse me. I'm so sorry about this. There's a lot of smoke in the air, you can imagine, and the dry. Our humidity is something down to, if we have 3% or something, that's generous. You can hear my wind chimes perhaps blowing, ringing. They're outside, and we're inside, and they're so loud that we hear them banging outside. Excuse me. Anyway, I use these a lot for statuary, things like that I might want to rise up on the altar. And the one thing that one thing I want to say about these that I love so much, I have these kind of things in different kinds of resin. Some are more ornate than others. I even have some that are black, like made out of an iron, I'm not sure what. different colors, you know, for different kind of things. Like, I think I've seen them in wood, or you can buy them in colors. But what I really like is, for me, I don't think they're meant to be, but for me, I reverse them. Sometimes I use it this way with the little place for the candle to sit, so it doesn't slide out, right? Not that I don't know why it would slide out. I think it's meant to sit like that. But sometimes I will take, and I will want to add height to it, so I turn it over. Oh, I can also use it on this side. So I can have it sit that way. Okay, without that lip, it's not matter. I also can add another one on top. And now I can get something truly big, truly tall. Do you see that? That is so slick to me. And if this is too tall for me, let's try the two shorter ones. The two shorter ones, which still end up to be taller than the tallest one. And I can put the candle on there. It's just a little trick. I don't know. I don't know how I figured it. I don't think I discovered that. But I figured it out probably because I wasn't sure, like, wait, is this the top or is this the top? I might have grabbed a candle one time upside down. But I've been using that little trick for years and years and years on my altar. And if you look at some of the past films, you'll see all kinds of things on stuck up on top of pedestals or whatever. So it's a really neat trick. Okay, I'm going to change my camera because what I'm going to do today is one of my favorite things that I do every Samhain. I've done it every year. I just was looking back on my videos, my old videos, to see when I first did this. And I first did it for you in 2014, I believe. I'm going to share that link showing, I'm not going to share the link, there's an old video that shows how I do this, but I'm going to share the link that shows my altar set up. It has my altar set up, so you can see how it looked in 2014. This was an altar in my parlor. Before our reorganization, this is the way the room used to be. It doesn't look like that anymore. But I also tell, while I'm showing you the altar, in case you're interested, I tell in that video the story of Jack of the Lantern, how Jack of the Lantern, according to the Irish, how the Jack-o'-lantern became to be. And so I tell the little story. It's not a terribly long video. But anyway, I'm showing, what I'm talking about is carving rutabagas. Carving rutabagas. The original jack-o'-lanterns, if we want to call them that, were not carved pumpkins. Pumpkin was a new world crop. Pumpkins weren't carved until the whole idea of carving a vegetable, a root vegetable, such as a turnip, happened many, many long before the New World and the pumpkin. So when they talk about making the jack-o'-lanterns, even though that story was a modern version of the story, they're talking about, I think the pumpkin is mentioned, or the jack-o'-lantern is mentioned, but we're really talking about, if we want to talk about the origin of the jack-o'-lantern, we're talking about turnips. And now turnips in the United States, when we say a turnip, we're talking about a small, it's usually white with some purple on it, and it's a lot smaller than this. A lot smaller, usually. But what we're talking about carving, and which is like what I carve every year, in the United States is called rutabagas. And it's more of a yellow-fleshed turnip. And I believe in some places it's called a Swede. I did research this, but that was like 6 years ago. I think I'm remembering correctly. It's called a Swede by some people. And I think in Scotland, this is the type of turnip that is used to make their famous tatties and neeps. Somebody can correct me, please, if anybody knows for sure. And that is that's actually a yellow turnip. But that's actually probably this, but we call this a rutabaga in the United States. I don't know where that name came from. That's sort of funny. whatever. These make adorable little tiny lanterns, and I carve them every year, and I have them, this year I either have them on my altar space in the parlor for ritual or whatever, or I have them outside, or this year I'm putting them on the altar in the foyer. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. There's another video. I think the one that I'm showing you, the altar tour, is a part 2 video. If you look at the part 1 video, I think I show you in great detail how to carve them. But I'm going to show you in pretty much detail. You can count on me for that, right? How to do it. It's very simple to do. There's only a few things you need to think about when you're doing it. But if you want to see more, you can see it. Those videos just were very long. I don't mean long. They were also very, the quality, the picture quality wasn't so good. So I think I can do a little better job with the picture quality now than I could. Okay, so I'm going to change my camera, and I'm going to show you the steps just to carve this if you want to. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you my little altar finished here in the foyer. It's just a very, the space is just a couple feet. It's a very small little place in the corner of our hallway here. You coming in from the front door, you have a choice. You go straight, you would run into the altar. If you turn to the left before then, you would come into my kitchen where I'm sitting. Or if you turn right, you will go down the bedroom area and all of my rooms, like all the bedrooms and my parlor and those things are that way. That way. So it's like at the crossroads. It's at the crossroads. Except it's not cross, but it's kind of crossroads. It's like it's a T. Because you can't keep walking through. If you want to get on the other side of the wall, you have to come through here and go there. My house is crazy. We've added on so many and remodeled so much that it goes amok. It goes amok. Anyway, when you're looking, I can show you this now, but I'll show you close up too. When you're looking for a rutabaga, or a turnip, depending on where you live, you want to look for character. They sometimes I used to be able to get them that they still had a point here on the root end. It actually goes this way, and they still had a point down here. Now they just cut them off. They don't, when they harvest, they just hack them off. But that point, I guess where they pulled it up, left a little point. And there were a lot of scraggly roots always, and the little point, if you look in the video, I think those rutabagas have points. Some of them have points on their head. They're so cute with the little points. But we can't find anybody who does that unless we get them from farmers, and they're tricky to grow right here where we are because it's probably not cool enough. You wouldn't get them till later. Like if you want to, we could maybe get them later in the season, but so I'm not sure where these are. But anyway, these you can use at either end, but I always look for character. I look for a lot of character, and I'll show you when I have the camera what I mean. But this one, you might be able to see it. I usually turn them this way, so I get these warts up here, which are really roots. They look like warts, and these roots sticking up looks almost like hair or growth, face coming off of it. I don't want to cut that off, so I've turned them upside down. You can turn them either way, but you want a nice flat bottom. Like this one has a flat bottom. I could turn it this way, have it sitting this way, and have that be the top. Doesn't matter. But whatever we're good at, we usually end up cutting a new bottom. We'll see. But I'll turn my camera so you get a better idea of the things we look for in the rutabagas and what we have to do to them in order to get them to light up and be cute. Okay? I'm going to take one of my favorite ones and show you how to do it first because I know I'm going to use this. I'm not sure how many I'm going to put on the altar yet. But this one is one that has these little, see the roots are sticking up and the little hairs and it looks like little warts. I also like the coloring of the face. You can really see the nice red coming up and then the cream color. Before you start to carve, you want to determine well, now my cats are howling. You want to determine where you want your face to be. And so I'm just turning it around and looking, and I definitely want to see this root and this side is plainer, but it's not so interesting as this side. because this side shows the wart and these roots, and it has like a little scarry thing there. I might be able to cut that out, I'm not sure. But I just like that a lot. So I'm going to determine this to be my face. That's what I do first. And then I want to make sure that it's going to sit. I have to get a flat bottom. And in this case, it's a flat top because I have this flipped over. But again, that's your preference, however you want to do it. So I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to try to get a nice flat surface. And it can either sit straight or it can sit crooked. But that sits pretty nice. And then I'm going to take, this is what I want to tell you about tools. I talked about the tools. You don't need a lot of fancy tools for this. I use a couple of tools. Some kind of a Sharpie or a marker to draw my face on first, where I'm going to cut. And then I love these. This is where the cheap is your friend. If you go any place right now, any supermarket or any dollar store or any 99-cent store or whatever, you should be able to find these little, they come on a card. They're meant for carving jack-o'-lanterns, but they usually have these different sizes. I have some bigger that are meant, like longer blades, bigger blades that are really good for cutting a jack-o'-lantern with. But these are just, but I have to put away because I just need short ones for this. And they're just these real cheap little plastic handled knives with different kinds of teeth. And they're great because the blade is even kind of flexible. They look cheap as anything. And when I first got them, I think I bought a whole lot of them because I was so afraid when I used them they would break and I would not have any. Well, I think I'm still using my original ones. I think I have extra ones that are ported that are for nothing that are still really good. So you need to have your tools. You need some kind of a little paring knife, a short little paring knife, which is good. And I like one that's, don't get it too sharp because I like to be up on my blade. When I do work like this, I'm always up on my blade. So I don't want this part to cut off my fingers. And a spoon. I just use a spoon from the drawer, but you want to again be able to work with it up on the spoon, because if you work with it this way, you're not going to have control, and you're going to bend your spoon if your spoon's not real good. The last thing that you need for something like this is your tea light that you're going to use inside, and these are the little battery ones. Can you even see that? That one might not even be. I think these are left over from something. That you turn them on. You can't really see here because it's light. These are the ones that flicker. They don't have to flicker. They can stay on. These flicker like it looks like a candle. These are orange. They don't have to be orange because the light isn't orange, is it? They come in. I have white ones. I have black ones. I have orange ones. I have all different colors. But you need one because you have to carve enough of this, because this is going to fit down on top of your light when you're done. And that's the other reason that I have these out here for now. Because right now, in order for me to check my face, to put it up on something like that so I can see it looking at me, that I can see this looking at me when I'm carving. You see how cool that is? So I can see it. So I can see how my face looks. That's how it's going to be sitting. If I wanted it to be more tilted that way to look, I would have carved it a little different. But you don't want them to really be looking right up at your face. You want them to just be carving. Now, this is again a matter of preference. Do you want eyes, nose, and mouth, or what do you want? I only ever carve eyes and mouth because I just want enough. We're not worried like a jack-o'-lantern that we're going to actually put a candle inside and have to worry about, how many times have you carved a jack-o'-lantern, and then when you put the top on, the candle won't stay lit because there's not enough oxygen flow in there. We don't worry about oxygen flow because we're going to use a little battery candle. We just want to have enough to show. We don't want the whole thing hollowed out. We don't want to see the whole hollowed out thing. We want to just see the candle glowing from the eyes or glowing from the mouth. So that's what I do. I do that. Just carve out eyes, just carve out a mouth. Sometimes I make circle eyes, sometimes I make slitty eyes. oval eyes. Sometimes I make triangle eyes. Sometimes I have a mouth that is smiling or gritty, and sometimes I have a mouth that is just like a moaning mouth or just a little circle mouth. If you look on my video that I show you, you might see some different examples of what I like to use. Okay, so I'm going to draw my face on. Each one is going to be different. I do each one of them differently. So they have different expressions. They're different kind of lantern people or whatever they are. And then the final thing that you need to know is, I hope I'm not going too fast. Again, if I'm going too fast, look at your video, but I'm going to show you step by step. This has to be able to fit over here. So I can look on the top or bottom, wherever I'm going to be carving, and I can see right away how much I have to carve out of this rutabaga. How much of it has for this to actually fit right down over the top, and you'll see me do that. And I can see it's going to take all of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to try to draw on him. This is the marker that came in the kit. I don't even know if it writes, but I usually just use a Sharpie, but my husband brought me this from the drawer. And again, I decided this is going to be my front, and I want the eyes kind of here. I'm going to leave that like it's kind of his nose. And then the mouth is going to be, what kind of a mouth am I going to put on here? I think I'm going to just have a circle mouth. So. I'm going to have oval eyes, and I'm making them smaller. I'm drawing it smaller than I'm going to be. Making just to try to get the gist. So I just, can you see that? I just do two eyes and a mouth. It's real simple on the front, just to get the placement where I want to go. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do those yet. I'm going to carve this first. I'm going to carve this out first. So in order for me to carve that out, this is where I take my little knife, paring knife, and I get up on my blade. Well, first thing, I don't have to yet. I'm just going to kind of make an indent. Just a small cut. It's like scoring something before you cut. I'm just taking the tip of my knife around. To see how much, that's how my cut will go that far. But you see it will go further than that. Okay, so I've just kind of scored that. Now I'm going around and going a little bit deeper with my knife. Now, of course, these other kind of tools that I got, we're going to be using those too. But this is just to get my initial cut. I do this with a knife. But you could probably do it with those little things. There's no reason you can't. Okay. I don't think you can see that, but then what I do is I just start scoring that, making cross cuts straight across whatever I have. And then I might, it's just like I'm cutting up a piece of pie. So that I have small areas. So that I have small areas to dig out. I'll show you when I dig it out, you'll see it. Just to try to get. And this is where I maybe use my spoon. Once you learn your tools, you decide what you want to have. And those I use mostly for the eyes and the mouth. But for the bottom, I'm just going to go down here. And I'm just going to start digging with my spoon this way. Since I scored those, they're kind of coming out. Do you see that? And again, I'm working up on my spoon, and I'm just going around like that and digging that out. Scooping out with the spoon. Just going as, don't worry, don't go try to go too deep the first time. You're not going to get to. I don't need that here now. Every time I go a little bit deeper. And just dig a little bit out. And I'm really trying to let the tool do most of the work for me, because I really have arthritis in my hands, and this can be very painful for me. But I like to make them so much, I overlook that. So anyway, I could take a little, I don't think I want that yet. I think I like the knife better. Because it's not going to, I don't know how to describe this, but this indent that I now have on the bottom is scooped this way. And I need it to be cut in, the sides need to be straight, because it's gonna, you see the sides of my tree light is straight. So I need to keep going and digging from the sides. Now that I'm down a ways, instead of going deeper, deeper, deeper down, I just need to make it, the sides of the hole straighter. However I can do that. You just play with it, you know. It's not. It's a turnip, or it's a rutabaga. It's not. I don't think they're that expensive. I don't know what my husband paid. I haven't been in a grocery store for months and months. I'm really out of touch with things. You see, I'm just turning and digging. Turning and digging. But the whole idea is you do not want to take any more than you need. So you always start a little smaller and gradually dig out more. Now, I hope I didn't confuse you, because we are eventually going to have it hollowed up to behind the eyes and mouth. But we don't have to hollow back in here. This can remain solid turnip or solid rutabaga all back here in the back of the head. It's only in the front that we're going to continue. But we're going to get that hollowed out when we do the eyes and the nose. We will connect them that way. I had to cut there. My dog moved the camera. They're really going nuts. They're very nervous. Okay, I'm just trying to get this hollowed out long enough to take this the tea light. I want to get the tea light to be able to fit the whole tea light in. What I was trying to explain, I don't know if I did before the dog, interrupted by the dog. The front half is the only part that is going to have to be hollowed up this high. The back of the turnip or rutabaga can stay solid. So I don't have to go any deeper in right now than I need to clear the light. I have to be able to push down so that I have to be able to set this turnip down on it so none of the light is showing. The rest of the hollowing I will do from the face. Does that make sense? That's why I drew the face on first, because I will go in this way and then I will connect it. It'll make sense the further I go, I think. I hope. So I just keep taking that tea light, sticking it in. Because see, I already have found that yes, it's big enough. My hole is plenty big enough. It's big enough in diameter. I don't need to make it any bigger around this way. I just have to have it deeper, this deep, so that the whole thing, and the sides have to be straight, enough to accommodate that tea light. So I just keep digging gradually with my spoon. as far as I need to go to accommodate my tea light. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And again, I'm letting the spoon work for me. You know, the edge of a spoon here really is a very good tool. This part of the spoon for digging. Just a simple spoon, teaspoon. We call it here in the States a teaspoon, which is so cute because when I was in England several years ago, I went into what was the store? I was looking for a spoon that was actually a teaspoon that you actually use with tea that is smaller than this actually, and cute as a button. And I bought a whole box of them, and I was looking, and all these really fancy shops for the teaspoons. I found them, I think, was it a Woolworths? Woolworth? I think it was a Woolworths, or was that in Scotland? It was either in England or Scotland. Which is funny because Woolworth here used to be a big department store, and then it had a basement, which was a bargain basement, we used to call it when I was a kid a 5 and 10 because it just had everything, and it was like cheaper stuff. And I think that's where I got the spoons in a Woolworth, Woolworth, I think that's what it was, which reminded me of the old 5 and 10s that we used to have here when I was a kid. It was really cool. But anyway, those teaspoons we use all the time. And I love them. I would never use them for this, but I use them for tea. Because we're big tea drinkers, that's for sure. Okay. So, I think I'm plenty deep enough. I might just have to get it bigger and round. You know, straighter sides. My whole house to be straighter sides. And here I'm just using the edge of my teaspoon to do my work. Can you see this nice little hole I'm getting in there? Oh, see how easy? Oh, maybe it's not maybe easy, but see, I can also scrape it out this way. Just play with it. You know, it'll come to you what you need to do. There aren't any real instructions. You're getting to know your turnip or your rutabaga. You're getting to know it. And you're getting to know your spoon, your tool, whatever your tool is. It's going to tell you what you need to do to use it to the best of its ability. Okay? Just like all of our witches' tools. They'll tell you how to use them. Just listen. Okay? Oh, I'm excited. Watch. If I put the light on here, you see that? Now I'm going to take my turnip. It's in there, isn't it? It's in there. That's all it needed. That's all it needed. Okay, now we're ready to do the face. I don't need to take any more out of that. That didn't take terribly long. Did it take too long? I don't think it did. Okay, now this is where these tools truly come in handy. These fancy plastic tools that come from the dollar store. And you just have to see which blade you like the best. And again, it has an end on it. You can maybe see on the bigger one. I don't know if you can or not. But on the very end, it comes up to a point. Not a point, it's more of a square. Squared off point. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. Let me hold them up against here. Can you see it against there? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, that is the part of the blade that is meant to go straight up and down to cut into your thing. To cut into your eye or whatever, your mouth. I'm going to do the eyes first. And I'm just going to go, the little lines that I made, I'm just going to go straight up and down, just like I did with the knife. I'm going to go around and I'm going to score it. See, it goes right down in. This silly little plastic eye, which I know I'm going to have to make a bigger eye. But for right now, I want to get my little eyes, then I'll see where I want them. Okay. Okay, now that I have it, I can work the knife up and down almost like a little saw. This is why I started off small, because this is where it kind of gets bigger. And I'm just going up and down, letting that little cheap blade thing do its magical job. It certainly does a good job. And then I just start chiseling away at it. And I am not a master carver, let me tell you. Oh! See, my eye just popped out. Did you see how it popped out? It popped out. Okay, I'm going to go do the other one so I can make sure that they're kind of in the same place. Again, I'm going to score. And this is why I say I start out smaller than I think, because my line is starting to fade. And the chances of me getting two exactly the same size eyes is really probably not going to happen at this point of the carving. So if they're small, I can even them out in shape or size or whatever I want to do later by making the smaller and bigger. Or take a little more off the bottom of one or the side of one or the top of one. Or you get it. And again, I want to say again, I have arthritis, but look how easy that little popped out. Now I can see they're pretty close. They're pretty close in size. But as I continue to hollow down, because now the idea is, once I get the mouth on here, the same way, I'm going to have to start coming in from here and down in from here to get this to be open. Because remember, for the eyes to glow and the mouth to glow, we have to be able to see the candle inside it. Okay, so let me do the mouth. Just to get placed, and I'm just placing. And the mouth can end up to be any shape. And you know, I have it drawn on here, sort of an oval or a circle on this one. But if I have to make it into a smile or into a crooked thing, just to get it hollowed out the way I want, that's fine, it'll work. There's no, I'm not trying to make an image of a person I know. Oops. Once you get it initially, once you get the initial cuts made, it's so much easier. Okay, now I take that knife, same thing, up and down, and before you know it, you're going to meet up with that hole that you went, oh, I'm through. You can't really tell, but I can sort of see, I can see the blade underneath it. I can see the blade underneath it. So this is where, instead of going straight up and down, I start to encircle, I start to make it bigger inside this way, because I want to open it up into here. I want it to meet in here. You'll see what I mean when you're doing your own. I'm acting like I really know what I'm doing. I'm not the expert. I've done them now for how many years? Is this the 7th year I've done them? That doesn't make me an expert. But I'm experienced. And you cut away some of it, you know, so that it's, now I can go back in from the middle. try to break through that way. Because remember, it can be bigger. It can be bigger there. But I just don't want it. I don't want to make the bottom any bigger. This bottom, I don't want to make that any wider, but it can be bigger inside. But I don't need to make it big here, so. You only want to take as much as you only want to take out as much as you need to, because if you take out too much, then your turnip won't last, or your rutabaga won't last. And I don't think you're going to, unless you spend actually the day of Samhain doing it, it's going to be a couple of days before, that you want it to last. Because I think you want to, the idea is we use these little things that we can then keep these little battery lights. And they'll burn pretty much of the night, I think. Mine always pretty much burn all night, I think. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think they burn for a couple of days after. Some of them. Okay. So I think we're through from the inside even. So I'm just going to go on the sides a little bit. The side of the inside. To enlarge the back of the hole, not the front of the hole, but the back of the hole, the inside of the hole. So because I want as much of that light to come through as I can. And again, these little saws, anything slicker than that. I am so surprised at how well they work for being cheap tools. These are just so much fun. And the turnips smell so good, the rutabagas. I really was looking into trying to grow some of these, but I'm afraid it's not cold enough here yet. We have too warm of a summer. I thought if I could put my spoon in there, my spoon handle, and turn it, but that would make it big, wouldn't it? Oh no, what a grin. Look at that. Oh, see, you can see there's my spoon inside. Can you see my spoon? That's what I wanted to get out of there. There, I'm just doing it so I can turn my spoon a little bit. Okay, so my spoon is complete, my hole is completely through. See my spoon? See that? Can you see that? I don't know. I can't ever see what you can see. There you go. I think you can see my complete through. And let me do the eyes real quickly, because I want to just get enough of it done so I can show you. And then I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want you to be able to go and play with your own rutabagas, your own turnips. Anyway, these have to be planted, and they have to have cool temperatures. So I could plant them probably in my winter garden. About like next month is really when I plant my winter garden, which most people call their fall garden. But here, it's not cool enough until next month to plant it. It just turned cool now. We're just starting to get cooler weather. So I can start planting things now. But these are things that I'm going to be harvesting. They're going to grow over the winter, and I'm going to harvest them in the spring. Well, I don't need these in the spring. I need these now. Right? So root vegetables like, you know, like my, well, like beets, something like beets. I'm just getting ready to plant beets. It's been too hot for me to plant beets up until now. Now, since I did that one with a spoon, I'm confident that this one can be done with a spoon. So I can sort of stick it in. And try to dig some of that out. I realize this is not riveting television, but oh, it's so worth it to try to do these. It's really worth it. I'm noticing how hoarse my voice is from this wind we've been having. my daughter is on evacuation watch. And her really good friend, her best friend, has been evacuated already. Lives about a mile from her. She was under mandatory evacuation. So we're kind of worried. It's not the first time. She was out in the canyon, and our wind is nothing compared to this. We had enough wind, I told you, that overturned a table. A glass table completely shattered it. And that's a heavy table. It was a heavy table, too, with a big, heavy umbrella on it. I heard the noise, and I thought, oh, Joe, something went out. I thought something blew into the pool. It sounded like a splash. It wasn't a splash. It was the sound of glass shattering all over the deck out there. The pool deck, you know, the concrete, the walkway. So that's not good. My husband's out there in his pajamas, his underwear actually, out there cleaning up broken glass in the wind, and oh, what a mess. So it's not the best day here. We're not very. It's kind of fun to have a project like this to take your mind off of it when you're worried. But got to keep my eye on things in case my daughter has to show up here. She should be okay. She should be okay. Anyway, I hope these projects, I didn't do anything special, but I hope you're getting the message that I'm trying to give you, that I just want you to do, you know, we're not in a position to do anything fancy this year or whatever. Just do something that means something to you. You know, just try to, that's what's important, right? Just something that can, see, I have to keep going back in here and cleaning out the inside. Where am I? Now you have to be careful. The only caution I have for you here is be careful when you're coming from the inside that you don't get this wall too thin between the eyes and the mouth. Okay. What I want to do here is just get this up on here and see. I think you have the idea, and I think you can finish on your own. But I just want to see. And I'm not going to carve these other ones in front of you. I'm just going to do this much. I want to see if I get the light on here. Will you be able to see the light through the eyes? I need to move that away from that light. Is it glowing? I think I can see the mouth glowing. Let me look at it from a distance. Oh yeah, I can see it. It's just a matter of getting the angle right for you on camera. Here's the eyes. Okay. See, it doesn't take much. I didn't have to hollow out too much. That's it. And here I can keep my roots intact and my little warty face. Okay. So that's, and you can just leave the candle in the bottom and let it stand. Now you don't have to have it on. You don't have to keep it on something like this. If you don't have something like this, it can go on a plate. It can go, actually it could go just right down on, if you have something, as long as you have a towel or something, or a napkin, something like a, you know, a cloth napkin or something like down on, just on your table you can put on there. Just I wouldn't put it right directly on the furniture, in case your turnip weeped. But he's so cute. Isn't he cute? Okay, that's all I'm going to show you. I will come back when we're all done with the altar space, and I will, it's probably going to be tomorrow. We're going to And I can show you what it looks like just as my little altar here to welcome any spirits, the traveling spirits. So let me know if you're going to carve any rutabagas or turnips or for your salad celebration. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'll check in with you later. I'm here in the beginning, right inside my front door in my foyer. I have a little area that's set up now to welcome the ancestors at Samhain. I might add a few more finishing touches, such as some flowers, some marigolds maybe. But I wanted to show it to you because I wanted to show you some of the things that I was working on. I showed you that we were working on, but also because I want to encourage you to do what you can. It doesn't take a big area. You don't have to have a big area for an altar. This is a very, very tiny corner in my foyer. Normally Buddha sits up on top of these little shelves, the little drawers I have here, the little drawer unit. He's on a vacation, on a weekend. So, but I just want to see, if I turn to the left, go through the door, I would get to my kitchen and living room area. If I turn to the right, I would be going down the hallway to my parlors and the bedrooms and things. So this is just a little place, a little stop on the road for the ancestors. Let me get a little closer, show you what I put here. You might recall these skulls here on the top of my candelabra that I made years ago. To welcome the ancestors of our female ancestors, our male ancestors, and our friends who have passed. Okay. Here I have the turnips. Oh, there's the candle that I made. I put the musician skeleton. Maybe a little hard to see. Transfer. Here's the pillar candle I made standing in my little cauldron. All-inclusive candle. That, of course, will be lit on Samhain. All are welcome here who need a place to go. I have a little black votive in this candle. This is the little drawer unit that we fashioned out of an old sewing machine cabinet where I keep candles and incense and things for this altar. We just made this. And on top you can see another one of my little turnips that I've carved, my rutabagas. Another transfer candle. It's a little hard to see the yellow transfer candle, which is the dancing skeleton. I have a skull candle here in the front. I have a incense, a little dish to hold the copal incense, which we will burn on Samhain. And this is happy with dancing skeleton lights and some glittery skulls. It's just going to be a great fun. And it will all be lit up on Samhain. These little lanterns in my rutabagas, of course, will go all night. All are welcome here on Samhain. I wish you blessings.